My name is Matt Kondolf. I'm a professor of environmental planning at the University of California, Berkeley. By training, I'm a fluvial geomorphologist, a physical geographer, and I work on rivers, the management of rivers, environmental issues, and the restoration of rivers. Mostly, I've been working on physical problems, the impacts of dams on river channels downstream, impacts of extracting sand and gravel from rivers, changes in land use in the catchment and how that affects rivers and their ecosystems. Through my work in restoration, I've become increasingly interested in the social aspects of rivers, and especially as they pass through cities. And this is the topic that I proposed to the Collegium, and which I'm working on now. And I came to Lyon because of the very strong research on rivers, not only in the CNRS laboratory where I'm working, which is Environnement, Ville, Société, but also throughout the various university campuses and research institutes in Lyon. It's certainly one of the world's, if not the greatest center of riverine-related research. And there are social scientists here who work on these questions. Yves Lelay, Marie-Lise Cotet, Emmeline Combi are my principal collaborators here, but there are others throughout Lyon who are very interested in these questions and who have contributed to the research. We just had a workshop week before last, assembling people from not only Lyon, but the entire region and from Spain as well to talk about some of these issues. So Lyon is a great place to do this research, and the Collegium is a great host to allow it to happen. In terms of the applicability of this research, many cities, probably most cities, are rediscovering their waterfronts. The rivers that pass through most cities have been transformed in the 19th and up through the mid-20th century for industrialization and for navigation. And so you have factories that would locate on the rivers to have an easy water supply, to have a place to discharge their wastes, and then also often access to riverborne navigation. The rivers traditionally have attracted a lot of industry. Also, a lot of it was located there because of mills, having the fall in water to drive some of the earlier kinds of machinery. And you also had a lot of navigation-related uses, wharves and docks and so on. Well, we don't have so much industry now in these cities in the developed world, and most of the navigation is concentrated in container ports. So effectively, that has freed up large areas of waterfront in these major cities of the world that can now be used for other purposes. And they are increasingly being repurposed for leisure, for recreation, for open space, in some cases also to improve the ecological condition. So we have this trend throughout the world of cities reconverting their waterfronts to these leisure uses and public uses. And they're attracting, in the case of Lyon, people from all classes of life come and they sit and enjoy the river, they walk along the river, they bicycle, they jog. It's a real pole of attraction for people. And in some cases, there's some pathways along rivers that can actually be a substitute for commuting on a busy street. So there are a lot of potential benefits from the people reclaiming the river, or to use the French expression, the reconquest of the banks. My research can help to identify what are the factors that lead to successful projects like this. There's an international conference in Lyon on rivers called Integrated Science of Rivers coming up in June. And for this conference, I'll be presenting a paper with one of my former graduate students looking at projects that failed and trying to understand why did they fail. They might have imported some model from another city and tried to make that work along their riverfront, but it was out of scale or inappropriate in some way. So we try to learn from both the successes and the failures. And these projects can also have an important environmental justice dimension. There's a project in India right now in which they displaced thousands of people in order to fill in the riverbanks and build luxury high-rise hotels. So there are a lot of dimensions to this issue, and I hope that my research with my colleagues here can help to shed some light on that and help cities make better decisions about doing these kinds of projects in the future.